Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Verse number 25. Vakshasthala Sparsha Rugna Mahendra Vaha Dante Vidambita Kakubjusha Udahasam Sadyo Subhihi Saha Vineshyati Darahartur Vispurjite Dhanush Ucharato Disanye. Vaksasthala, chest, sparsha, touched by, Rugna, broken, Maha Indra, the king of heaven, Vaha, the conveyor, Danteha, by the trunk, Vidambita, illuminated, Kakup Jushaha, all directions thus being served, Udhasam, overtaken by laughter, Sadhyaha, within no time, Asubhihi, by the life, Saha, along with, Vineshyati, was killed, Darahartuhu, of the one who kidnapped the wife, Visfurjiteha, by the tingling of the bow, Dhanushaha, bow, Ucharataha, strolling fast, Adhisanye, in the midst of the fighting soldiers of both sides. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. When Ravana was engaged in the battle, the trunk of the elephant which carried the king of heaven, Indra, broke in pieces, having collided with the chest of Ravana, and the scattered broken parts illuminated all directions. Ravana therefore felt proud of his prowess and began to loiter in the midst of the fighting soldiers, thinking himself the conqueror of all directions. But his laughter, overtaken by joy, along with his very air of life, suddenly ceased with the tingling sound of the bow of Ramacandra, the personality of Godhead. Purport. However powerful a living being may be, when he is condemned by God, no one can save him. And similarly, however weak one may be, if he is protected by the Lord, no one can annihilate him. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Translation once again. When Ravana was engaged in the battle, the trunk of the elephant which carried the king of heaven, Indra, broke in pieces, having collided with the chest of Ravana, and the scattered broken parts illuminated all directions. Ravana therefore felt proud of his prowess and began to loiter in the midst of the fighting soldiers, thinking himself the conqueror of all directions. But his laughter, overtaken by joy, along with his very air of life, suddenly ceased with the tingling sound of the bow of Ramacandra, the personality of Godhead. A very powerful verse indeed. So, Srila Prabhupada makes it very clear that however powerful one may be, no one can save that person if Krishna does not protect. There's a very nice mantra, Rakhe Krishna Marike, Mare Krishna Rakhe Ke. Whomsoever Krishna wants to kill, no one can protect. And whomsoever Krishna wants to protect, no one can kill. So here in this verse, there is talk about Lord Ramacandra and also Ravana. Lord Ramacandra was an ideal king, ideal son, ideal husband, ideal father. So here there are only 3 verses talking about Lord Ramacandra. You see, in just a few verses, Lord Brahma is explaining how Lord Krishna appears in different forms for different reasons, right? So this verse that we read today is about Krishna coming as Lord Ramacandra. Later on, we will see that Parikshit Maharaj, he will ask Sukadev Goswami to elaborate more on the pastime of Lord Ramacandra, and that we will hear later on in another canto. See, Sukadev Goswami is happy that Parikshit Maharaj is inquisitive. He wants to hear. He wants to hear more about the Supreme Lord, more about incarnations of the Supreme Lord, more about the devotees of the Lord, you see. So from that we can understand hearing is the most important aspect of devotional service. If we want to perform Bhakti Yoga, we need to understand hearing is very, very important. In fact, in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a qualification given. Those who want to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, they need to be qualified. And what is that qualification? One has to be very attentive. To hear Srimad Bhagavatam, one has to be very attentive. Unless we are attentive, how can we progress spiritually, right? So here we see in this verse that Ravana was proud, of course, but he was a great fool too. We heard from the scriptures that in the previous birth, before Ravana became Ravana, he was Hiranyakashipu. And as Hiranyakashipu, he was killed by the Supreme Lord, right? But he didn't learn his lesson. So no matter how very powerful one may be, if one is proud, see, pride comes before the fall. So first comes pride, then comes the fall. So we need to check ourselves to make sure that we do not have pride in our hearts. That's an anartha, unwanted thing. So no matter how very powerful one may be, like Ravana, right? But no one can protect because the Supreme Lord Ramacandra wanted to kill him. So how can he be protected? No. So this verse is talking about Indra fighting with Ravana. And Indra was on his elephant, Airavat. And he was holding his thunderbolt also. He was there to fight. And when I was reading this, I was thinking, what was Indra thinking? Didn't he know how powerful Ravana is and he went to fight him? Now, Indra is in charge of the clouds, but he was defeated by Ravana. So this also shows how powerful Ravana is, you see. And this made him very proud that he was able to crush, right? He was able to crush the... excuse me. He was able to crush the trunk of the elephant, Airavat, right? So this shows how very powerful Ravana, just by hitting the chest of Ravana, broke into pieces. Now it is mentioned that Ravana, he had gone to Sutalalok to meet Bali Maharaj. And we know that the gatekeeper of Bali Maharaj is the Supreme Lord himself in the form of Vamanadev. But he snuck around and he entered. And when he went to meet Bali Maharaj asked him, "How can I help you? What do you want?" Bali Maharaj said, "I'm an old man now. I will donate anything you want." So there was a huge jewel in the room with lots of jewels on them. And Ravana, he tried to pick up that jewel. See, he wanted that big jewel. He wanted to pick it up, but he could not. Bali Maharaj said, "You are such a fool. Do you know in your previous life, you were Hiranyakashipu, and when the Supreme Lord in the form of Narsingha Dev had killed you, your earring had fallen on the ground. This is your earring from previous birth." He couldn't pick up his own earring and he thought he was so powerful. And he was proud of his power, right? But Lord Ramacandra, Bali Maharaj said, is I'm not sure if Bali Maharaj said, but Prabhupada mentions that Lord Ramacandra is more powerful than Lord Nrsimhadev. So, how can he even think of killing Lord Rama? That's what Ravana thought. I can kill anybody. I'm the emperor of the entire creation. I am the most powerful. There's no one more who has more power than I do. So I can kill this young man who calls himself Ramachandra. I can kill him very easily. How could he even think like that? Demons are foolish. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16, verse 4, Krishna talks about this to Arjuna. He says, pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, ignorance, all these are demoniac qualities. And we can see all this was there in Ravana. Very arrogant. And he used to get angry so often, right? And all this was because he was ignorant. He didn't have knowledge. So all these qualities we can find in Ravana. So when he was fighting Indra, he felt super powerful because he could see that when Airavat, the elephant's trunk hit the chest of Ravana, it broke into so many pieces. And then, as the verse says, he started thinking himself the conqueror of all directions. When he understood Lord Ramachandra's arrow was about to kill him, that's when he really got very scared. It is said that Ravana, one time he went to Mount Kailash. He went there and he thought he was so powerful that he tried to uproot Kailash. What a thought. I would say, what a foolish thought. But when Lord Shiva saw that he's trying to uproot Kailash, Lord Shiva smashed his hand just by touching his pinky toe. He pressed the pinky toe on Kailash and that completely smashed Ravana's hand. Because Lord Shiva is like thinking, this is not happening. You cannot uproot. And when the hand was smashed, Ravana cried because it was unbearable pain. Actually, the name of Ravana means he makes others cry. But here he himself is crying. Then he went and it is said for 100,000 celestial years he prayed to Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva was pleased with his worship and gave him a boon. What was the boon? He will be very, very strong, but not more than the Supreme Lord. But being demoniac in nature, Ravana thought, he can kill Supreme Lord just like that. It's very easy. So from this we can learn, just like in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gives us knowledge about divine and demoniac natures. So from this, we need to actually study this chapter thoroughly and contemplate on which qualities do we have. Do we have divine or demoniac qualities? If we have any of those demoniac qualities, then we need to make sure they are removed from our hearts. And as mentioned in chapter 16, Krishna says pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, ignorance, all these are demoniac qualities. So if we identify them in our hearts, then we need to remove them. Now the mind can play a trick on us. Mind will say, you have all the divine qualities in the world. You have no demoniac qualities at all. Not to listen to the mind. If we are not sure, then we can confide in advanced devotees and inquire from them to see, do we have those demoniac qualities? Because it's important to remove them. And Prabhupada says an easiest way to cleanse the heart of anarthas is attentive chanting. That's the easiest method. This morning while I was chanting, I was trying to remember, attentive. If I notice my mind is going here, oh no, bring it back. Attentive chanting, very, very important. And Prabhupada says 99% of our bhakti depends on attentive chanting, because once we chant attentively, everything else will fall in place. We don't have to worry at all. Now this verse is talking about the tingling sound of Lord Ramachandra's bow. This is another metaphor used when Arjuna, when he was blowing his conch shell on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, that just that blowing of that conch shell actually pierced the heart of people on the other side who had come to fight him. And just by hearing that sound of conch shell, so very powerful, of course Krishna also blew his conch shell, so that made the enemies understand they will be defeated for sure. Of course, main reason is not just the conch shell, but Krishna was on the side of the Pandavas. So wherever there is Supreme Lord, they are protected. Everybody is protected. If Krishna is on our side, we are protected. So this metaphor that is used is to show how powerful Lord Ramachandra is. How powerful is his bow. Just that tingling sound made Ravana afraid. He could understand, I will be defeated. I will be killed. This must be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You see, when we hear the glories of Krishna, when we hear the glories of his incarnations, it is pure nectar. These verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, of Bhagavad Gita, they are so powerful because they are spiritual sound vibrations. They're spoken by the Supreme Lord himself or spoken by his pure devotees. And they have the power to purify the heart. It's pure nectar. Rupa Goswami, he says, I want millions of ears so that I can hear Krishna Katha with my millions of ears. We just have 2, and we still have trouble hearing. Most of the time when we are hearing, we are spacing out. When we are hearing, we are not really paying attention. So if we don't hear attentively, it's not going to really help us purify the heart. So Rupa Goswami wants millions of ears to hear. That shows how attached he is to hearing Krishna Katha. Pure devotees, they like to drink the nectar through their ears just by hearing Krishna Katha. And the more they hear, the more they relish the nectar. Many times Srila Prabhupada is telling us that there is no difference between Krishna, his holy name, his form, his pastime. There is no difference because it's on the transcendental platform, right? But the demons, they don't understand that. Even demons have Krishna in their hearts as the super soul. But because of pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, ignorance, they are not able to realize the Lord in the heart. They can neither see or realize the Supreme Lord in the heart. But the devotees of Krishna, they know. Krishna tells Arjuna in chapter 15, Sarvasya Chaham Hridi Sani Vishnu. I am situated in Sarvasya mean all. He is situated in the heart of all living entities, not just human beings, animals, trees, aquatics, insects, reptiles, birds, you just name it. All species of life. Krishna is situated in the heart as a super soul. And when we associate with devotees, we are reminded. Just like we are reading this verse today, and we are hearing from Rupa Goswami, we are hearing from Sukadev Goswami, we are hearing from Srila Prabhupada. They all are reminding us Krishna is in the heart as the Super Soul. Why is he there? Doesn't he have anything else to do? Well, for him, we being his eternal parts, we being his children, he is concerned about us. He wants to guide us, help us to go back to the spiritual world. And that is why he's there in the heart. So, if we somehow or the other remind ourselves on a daily basis, Krishna is in me. He is sitting in my heart. He's ready to help me. Now let me open myself and accept his guidance. Let me try to purify my heart if it isn't purified yet, because I want to see Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada says we can see Krishna through the ears by hearing the holy name. So when we chant attentively, when we read Srila Prabhupada's books scrutinizingly every day, when we associate with devotees, we learn from them, right? Srila Prabhupada has given us everything. He's given us books, temples, devotees, prasadam, festival, everything he has given us. All we need to do is just accept it and follow it. And then what will be the result? We will be able to qualify ourselves to go back to the spiritual world, provided that is our goal. I was listening to this lecture, excuse me, and Prabhu was mentioning that Titanic was destined to never sink. It was such a strong ship. But why did it sink? Because the captain was very proud. He was proud that he was, the captain of the maiden journey of the huge, powerful Titanic ship. He did not take advice from the control room. And it is said when the ship sank, because of the explosion or whatever happened, the captain was covered in grease, all oil from the ship. So when he jumped in the cold water, because he had oil all over his body, he did not drown. How fortunate he was. The ship sank because of him, but he got saved. Guess what? 10 years later, he went to a bar and he got drunk. He was so drunk that when he was outside walking to go back, he fell down with his face down on the ground in a small puddle of water. And because he was so drunk, he could not turn himself and he died. Imagine. He saved himself from drowning in the ocean, but he died in a puddle of water because he was drunk. He could not use his intelligence. He couldn't understand what's happening. He couldn't turn himself. So staying in that puddle of water for a long period of time, he died. So it doesn't matter how proud one is, as sure as death. No one can live forever. So pride doesn't really help us, just like Ravana, so proud. And what was the end result? He died. He was killed by the Supreme Lord. So however powerful a living being may be, this verse is talking about, when condemned by God, no one can save that person. On the other hand, Srila Prabhupada explains, however weak one may be, if one is protected by the Supreme Lord, no one can annihilate him. No one can do any harm. No one can kill that person. Rakhe Krishna mare ke, Mare Krishna rakhe ke. Whomsoever Krishna wants to protect, no one can kill. And whomsoever Krishna wants to kill, no one can protect. So just like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna, Name bhaktya pranashyati, my devotee will never perish. There is a guarantee given by the Supreme Lord. So if we want protection, it is available. Krishna is ready to give protection. Are we ready to take it? Another question is, are we qualified to take that protection? Most people in this world, they want to enjoy without Krishna. They want to have fun. They want to satisfy their senses. They want to go here, there, get this, get that, just wanting to enjoy the body. And unfortunately, they are looking for happiness in the wrong place. Krishna tells Arjuna, this material world, dukhalayam ashashvatam. It is full of misery and it is temporary. So if this material world is full of misery, how can we find happiness? Same thing happened with Ravana. He was looking for happiness in this material world. In fact, it is said he wanted to build a staircase to heaven so that he could just climb up and go to heaven. Nice thought. But it doesn't work like that. Why did he think he can make a staircase? Because he thought he's the most powerful person on the earth. Most powerful personality. He never thought that anyone can kill him. He never thought anyone can do any harm to him. Why? Because he had performed severe penances. And because of that severe austerities, he had become very powerful. But of what use is all that power which is temporary? As soon as he died, all his power was gone. Everything gone. You see? So what is the use of accumulating power in this material world if that power cannot save us from death? Nothing can save us from death. Nobody can save us from death except the Supreme Lord. Only the Supreme Lord can save us. And as Bhagavad Gita says, as sure as death, which means this material body is going to die. It cannot live forever. Dehino asminyatha dehe kaumaram yovanam jara tatha dehantara praptir. After the death, the soul is going to leave the body and go on to the next body. So here we see Ravana. He was powerful, but that could not save him from the arrow of Lord Ramacandra. Why? Because Krishna is the ultimate authority. Not a blade of grass moves without the sanction of the Supreme Lord. And the verse is talking about Ravana's life ceased with the bow of Lord Ramacandra. Just that tingling sound, just that one arrow going and hitting Ravana, finished. All his opulent life came to an end. He lived a very opulent life. But he did not know how to engage all that opulence in service to the Supreme Lord. Because he was demoniac in nature. And the worst part is, he was very proud. He considered himself very powerful, emperor of the whole creation, and no one can kill him. He's going to live forever. That was his mentality. So when the Supreme Lord has given us any opulence, we should try to use it in service of the Supreme Lord Krishna. Because everything belongs to him anyway. So when we take what belongs to him and offer it back to him, that is very pleasing. Srila Prabhupada gives the example of a child, wants to give candy to or a gift to his father. Where does the money come from? From the father, right? He gets the money from father, he buys the gift and he gives it to the father. The father is very pleased. Why? Because the child is giving. The child has that emotion of affection for the father. So father is very pleased, even though the money belongs to the father. But he appreciates the sentiment of the child. Same as with Krishna, everything belongs to him. We just buy whatever it is, offer it back to him. It belongs to him. But Ravana did not think that way at all. He thought everything belongs to me. I am the Supreme Lord. He only wanted to enjoy his senses. But the devotees, they know that everything should be engaged in the service of the Lord. All our activities, if somehow or the other we can dovetail them in Krishna's service, that is perfection of life. And when we do that, then all the contamination from the heart will be removed. Instead of thinking, I want to enjoy this and that, use it in service of Krishna. Ravana, he wanted to enjoy Sita without Ram, right? Lakshmi comes with Narayan. We cannot have Lakshmi without Narayan. We cannot, Ravana, how could he even think that he can have Sita without Ram? He separated Sita from Lord Ramacandra. Of course, that was a pastime so that Lord Ramacandra could go to Lanka and kill Ravana. But who is Sita? Sita Devi is Lakshmi herself. So Ravana's downfall started from the time he kidnapped Sita Devi. He took Lakshmi away from Narayana. That was the downfall of Ravana. Why did he kidnap Sita? Because he wanted to enjoy her. He had that mentality of enjoying the senses. Imagine he wanted to enjoy Sita Devi. What a foolish endeavor. But because he was so proud, he thought, I am the Supreme Lord, so Sita belongs to me. I am the Lord of all I survey. That was his mentality. But he didn't realize that this material life is temporary. See, one may work very hard all their life. One may accumulate a lot of money, a lot of possessions. One may, enjoy people, enjoy everything. But everything can be it is taken away in just one moment. What is that moment? Death. Because death can come anytime. Many times, sometimes when I call somebody and they say, oh, we were just thinking of you, you will live for 100 years. Says who? Just because someone is remembering someone doesn't mean they are going to live for 100 years, but it's just a saying, which actually doesn't make sense. We don't know when death is going to come. So wise people, they know how to use every moment, how to use this human form of life in service to the Supreme Lord. And in the process, become self-realized so that we can qualify ourselves to go back to the spiritual world. Srila Prabhupada says, finish your business in this life and go back to the spiritual world. We've gone through so many different species of life. So many lifetimes we've been born and died. It's time to break this cycle. So the wise people, they work hard to break this cycle. And we are the most fortunate. We are fortunate because right now we are hearing Krishna Katha. Right now we are hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, which is so rare, right? Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhai. Out of thousands, hardly one will try for perfection. So out of thousands, we are just a handful who are hearing Krishna Katha. You see? So when we have this opportunity, this golden opportunity, then we should take advantage of that completely. See, when we are, say, supposing we are doing some business, and somebody tells us, if you do this, you'll earn a lot of money. Will we take that advice? Probably yes. Why? Because the goal is to make more money. So if our goal is to become fully Krishna conscious, then we take the advice of Srimad Bhagavatam. Now that we have this golden opportunity to perform bhakti, then why not? If we waste this opportunity, we have no guarantee we will get another one. In fact, Prabhupada says there's no guarantee we will be born as a human being in the next life. So whatever opportunities we get to perform bhakti, we should take that up. You see, whatever we accumulate in this material world, we have to leave behind at the time of death. We cannot even take our American Express card next life. We cannot even take our degrees that we have, earned by going through school, college, whatever. We cannot take anything. We have to leave behind everything. We cannot even take this body with us. We have to leave this body behind. We are so attached to this body, even though we don't want to give it up, but we'll have to leave this behind too. A king had 4 wives, and he came to know that he was about to die. So he went to his wives to see if they can come with him after death. 4th wife, 3rd wife, 2nd wife, they all refused. But the 1st wife said, yes, I will come with you. Now 4th wife is this body, cannot come with us. 3rd wife is the wealth, all the opulence that we've collected, cannot go with us. 2nd wife is all the relatives that we have, we cannot take them with us. But the 1st wife is bhakti, devotional service, all the piety that we have earned by performing devotional service, that we can take with us to the next life. So what do we learn from this story? We need to perform more and more bhakti, right? We need to fill up our spiritual bank balance. Sure, if you want to fill up material bank balance, that's okay. But on the side, simultaneously, we need to fill up our spiritual bank balance as well. Because that spiritual bank balance we can take with us after death. So this is how Srila Prabhupada is teaching us how we can use our mind, our body, our words in service to the Supreme Lord. So to be able to use mind, body, and words, we need to perform some austerities. Because without austerity, how can we do bhakti? We've learned in Bhagavad Gita, austerity of speech. Need to be honest. I know you may say, hey, you talk about this in every class, but it's very important. Austerity of speech, austerity of body, austerity of mind. All these will help us. See, if we study Bhagavad Gita scrutinizingly in a systematic way, then we will become self-realized. How? By putting it into practice. Srila Prabhupada says, theory plus practice equals wisdom. We'll become wise. And as human beings, we have philosophical intelligence which we can use. and understand. I know we've heard this many times, but it's good to repeat, it's good to hear again and again and again, to remind ourselves this is the way. So with philosophical intelligence, using the knowledge from Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, we can understand who am I? Not this body, but the spirit soul. And this way, we will also understand by taking on knowledge that I am eternal, the spirit soul is eternal, and Jivera Swarupoi Krishnera Nityadas, that I am the eternal servant of Krishna. With this knowledge, we will also understand the goal of human form of life. That we use this philosophical intelligence and understand, I need to break this cycle of suffering. What is the suffering? Birth, disease, old age, and death. We've just been going round and round and round. So we need to break this cycle. So by hearing Bhagavad Gita, by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, we get the knowledge. And if we hear this in association of devotees, that is like cherry on the cake. Because then we really understand what is the Supreme Lord or his devotees talking about. And Srila Prabhupada's purports make it so much easier for us to understand the verses. So we see here in this verse, Ravana very, very proud of his being so powerful, proud of his opulences, proud that no one can defeat him. And he became more proud when he was able to break the trunk of Airavat elephant of Indra into pieces. He became so very proud. And that led to his fall down. Just with one arrow of Lord Ramacandra, he ceased to live anymore. So the verse once again, when Ravana was engaged in the battle, the trunk of the elephant which carried the king of heaven Indra broke in pieces, having collided with the chest of Ravana, and the scattered broken parts illuminated all directions. Ravana therefore felt proud of his prowess and began to loiter in the midst of fighting soldiers, thinking himself the conqueror of all directions. But his laughter, overtaken by joy, along with his very air of life, suddenly ceased with the tingling sound of the bow of Ramacandra, the personality of Godhead. So I'm going to end now.